Okay, welcome. All right. So, a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. I'd like to provide a little bit of mindless entertainment, mostly for myself. But I know that there's a lot of people. We got gearheads, we got producers, beat makers, aspiring, musicians and whatnot, live broadcasters, all of these people. I mean, anybody that is trying to reach people, trying to create things are going to be interested in my channel. The level of interest is going to depend on what actually gets you excited. But I'm a creator. I am a hands-on type of YouTube person. I wouldn't call myself a YouTuber. I wouldn't call myself a music producer. I wouldn't call myself any of that stuff. I'm just a normal guy. Just a normal guy that's passionate about music, people, technology, and fresh, innovative ideas. I don't recycle ideas. I don't do things other people do. I applaud people when they do something new. And I give people credit when, they've inspired me to try something. So here we are in my basement. I'm the underground zero. So we're underground. We're here with all this equipment. I've made a decision. I made a decision that I'm moving my studio. So where am I moving it to? I'm not moving it very far. But what I want to do is capture this event in pieces as I go. That way you can see the work that goes into doing this type of stuff. You can see the technical knowledge that you need to kind of focus on if you want to be a broadcaster, a music producer, a beat maker, a community member. You want to start something of your own. Well, you're probably going to need some tools to reach people. So these are things that I've come to enjoy learning about and growing. And at times I share a lot of this stuff with people. It's only really, been a couple years now, but I've definitely gotten a lot of useful knowledge on board to help me out. So you want to go check out my first video from 6 years ago when I was living in my subsidized housing unit with just my daughter, fresh out of the homeless shelter. You'd see I've come a long way. So what I want to do is I want to, first of all, this thing is the bane of my existence. This is not a stripper pole. This is a brace that is keeping my house from falling on me. So everything has to be moved. Everything has to be moved. I do not want this thing in my YouTube videos anymore. I don't want it next to me when I'm talking. I mean, you can see here the kind of depth of what we're dealing with here. There's our feed. We've got all of this stuff. We got all of this equipment. We've got all of these wires. We've got this nice computer here, which is going to push everything we need. But it's going to get messy. It's going to get complicated. And it's going to get captured all live. So all of this equipment is going to get moved. I built all these with recycled wood. This is all tongue and groove flooring. So when we had some renovations done, we were left with a whole bunch of leftover tongue and groove ends you know, because when you do tongue and groove, you stagger them. So these are all the leftover pieces, and I just used them to build this. And then I put this light, cheap skin type stuff, you know, fiberboard, whatever you want to call it. I cut it specifically to fit in these spots to give it a bit more of a finished look, even though it's garbage looking. And then in the back, this thing is faded. It's disgusting. I want it to go. I've been wanting it to go. I just didn't have an alternative. These are curtains that I repurposed. I bleached them. So all these drawers, you know, I built them just with some hardware rollers and stuff, you know, shelving. Pretty simple, basic stuff, but I had to take the time to do it. So I got a little wood shop and I put each desk together. It took me about 2 weeks. The first desk I built took me about a week. And then once I figured out the process, I set up a template out in the woodshed. I set up a template for cutting certain pieces that was gonna be repetitive. And then I went to work, and I've got pictures. I'll share these pictures along the way of the process as I was going, because this basement was not suited for a music studio. So we've got plastic. So this plastic is to keep the water out. So this runs along the floor. You know, you don't want to have, this is an elevated floor. You don't want to have water accumulating in your music studio. So I have a sump pump over there, which is very noisy. That's why I've got some blankets on top, because it helps to quiet the noise of dripping water when it's raining and whatnot. Up above here, I've got a rail system set up for my cameras. So this is gonna probably stay here. We'll have to see. But I also use it to run audio cables to my mixer for this, which I've not really found any use for at this point because it's just not ergonomical. But this is a stand-up, you know, this is a stand-up, what do you want to call this? You know, production stand that I built out of scrap material again. This stuff is packing. This is packing from Harbor Freight, you know, padding, blankets from Harbor Freight. I think they were like $3 each or something. But the underside is just a bunch of old, this is a floor truss. So these are just ends of floor trusses that I stacked on top of each other. See? Stacked them on top of each other and screwed them together, drilled them together, and braced them up so that I have a nice tall stand. I'm tall. I mean, I'm 6'2" or so. So I wanted to have a stand that I could actually stand at. And yeah, so this is just about, you know, I would say halfway up my stomach. So I wanna make use of this. So this needs to find a home. I just redid this yesterday, okay? If you're already part of the channel and whatnot, you know that this did not look like this over here. If you had seen my drum set before, you know that there used to be a big thing over here. Well, that's over here now. I built this to hold all my Volcas. Before I really got into the modular side of things, which I don't own, but I am more familiar with now, I wanted to build my own type of modular rig, but I didn't have enough knowledge on board to really know that, you know, you need power supplies, things like that. So I wanted to get something that had its own power supply for each unit. So I built this thing. Built it again using old wood and sanded it down. I actually flush mounted everything. All these Volcas are all flush mounted. When you pull them out, there's holes for the wires to hide all the cabling. So pretty dope, but again, I don't really have a way for it to work in a productive way, the way I want to work. And so I've decided the way that I want to work fully is standalone, no computer type stuff. When I say no computer, I just mean I'm not going to use a computer to host or to navigate through my sessions. If I use a computer, it's just to record the multi-track audio that comes from my mixer. So this is an Allen & Heath Q32. It has 32 tracks of it's a 32 multi-track recorder, 32 input multi-track recorder. Jesus, I'll get it right. But that's important because there's actually 38, I think, inputs, because there's 32 line inputs on the top with XLR plus line. And then there's also 3 pairs of stereo. So there's this one here. Where is it? Okay, right here. This is stereo in 3, ST3 in, and there's 2 more in the back. So there's 3 sets of stereo, so that makes it 38. So there's 38 inputs. Now there's 32 outputs as well, because we've got group outs. I'll go ahead and show you that. And we're gonna just get to the drawing, because at least for this live stream, this will be documented, and I'm gonna diagram what we're gonna do. So back here, we'll be taking all of this apart. And I'm making this decision for a couple reasons, and I'll explain why. It'll make sense. So right here, this entire top row, this entire top 2 rows are inputs. So there's 32 line and 32 XLR here. This is your, if you have like some sort of little light that you want to plug in or something like that. I've never really known what to do with that, but I probably could get a light. So you got your XLRs, and then you got all these outputs. So there's matrix outs. There's 10 mix out, 3 sets of stereo mixes. Okay, so mix out 1 through 4 come out XLR, and then 5 and 6 come out as a pair, 7 and 8 come out as a pair, and 9 and 10 come out as a pair. 9 and 10 are going to my monitors. 7 and 8 are what I use for the stream. 5 and 6 go to an Ableton sidechain type thing that I use, a virtual sidechain. 4, mix out 4 goes to the Force. Mix out 3 goes to my hardware switcher. Mix out 2 goes to the Mpc. I'm sorry, mix out 2 goes to the Deluge. Mix out 1 goes to the Mpc. Then, like I said, I've got matrix outs. So I also have group outs. So there's, if you want to look here, these are all of the buttons, if you want to have control over these mixer. Hold on a second here. This is another thing that's going to go. So if anybody is looking for a KS rack, a Novation KS rack, I may do a giveaway for this, or I may just sell it outright. So make me a fair offer. This is a 4-track multi-timbral synth. It's got 4 independent tracks that you can program, including like a drum pattern. Just never got into it. All right, what was I? So carrying around this gimbal type thing. Hold on here. Okay, so here we go again. So mix 1 is for the MPC. So anything that's the fader is up on is going to go to the MPC. So the Prophet Rev 2, the Prophet 6, and so on. So we've got some things going to the MPC. Number 2, that's the Deluge. So we've got the Sledge and some other stuff. So just, you know, this is for the stream, which is number 3. 4 goes to the Force. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, that goes to the... So 3 goes to the stream, but it's actually to the hardware switcher. And 7 and 8 goes to the stream, but this is through Voice Meter, which is a virtual application that I can get audio into stuff like OBS, things like that. And like I said, 9 and 10, all these are up because they all go to the monitor. But I don't have the drums coming out to the monitor for obvious reasons, because I don't need to hear the live drums, which are all mic'd. Not all, but they're mostly mic'd. So I don't need to have my mic'd drums playing through the monitors, because they'll come through on playback when it's recorded. Oh, also, that was the other thing, was all of these groups. Group 1 and 2, that's a stereo pair. 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. These all work the same as mix outs. And then the matrix outs, you get access to a whole other bank of faders when you click this right here. So that's a whole other bank of faders which controls, so this bank controls channels 2, channel 3, channel 4, so on. This bank controls stereo input 1, stereo 2, stereo 3, the FX1 return. So you've got faders for all your groups, all your mix outs, and your matrix outs. This thing's clumsy as shit. So you got your faders for your matrix out, MTX 1-2, 3 and 4, and then you got your DCAs, which I need to do more research on. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to bless me with some knowledge. Appreciate it. I'll take any on any of these subjects. I love to learn, especially from people that know what they're talking about. All right, so all that's got to get unplugged. Everything's going to get unplugged, and I'm actually going to do this completely different. I'm looking at my layout here, and we'll take a look at it from this point of view, which I don't really do very often. So from this point of view, you can see the entire layout of my space. Actually, I'll do it even better. I'll come behind the dark ship. The dark ship Enterprise was created about 2 years ago. So hasn't been in operation very long. All right, so now I'm behind the dark ship. You can see I've got space over here where I've got furniture where I chill. I got a TV over here. I can just move a little so you can see it. There you go. I got a TV over here and some stand-up speakers. So that's kind of where I hang when I'm not making music and I'm not with the family. And I have a lot of space. I'm a blessed man, for sure. Blessed man. So what I want to do is completely flip this entire space upside down. And this is going to all come together very quickly because I've done this many, many times and I know what I'm doing now. But this space here is going to get some work. This little cart might be brought into active duty. It's been on reserve status for a while. So I just enlisted this member from the wife, which now we've got everything is way more. These are just RCAs. It's way more organized. These are RCA-3.5s. which obviously means RCA's to a 3.5 millimeter jack. This one here is USB and bricks. There we go. This is quick access. This is what you want, you know? HDMI, a long one. Most of my HDMIs are already hooked up. MIDI cables with 2.8, it just made us, you know, not need a whole bunch of these, but I'm still using a whole bunch of them for different reasons. Down here we got power cords, and then the rest of my excess cables are hanging here. And they'll probably stay here because it's too much work to try to relocate these, and there's not enough benefit. The benefit I'm looking for is more, first of all, more light. I'm looking for more cohesive workflow, and I'm looking for unobstructed movement. So I don't want this in my way to get to here. I don't want that in my way to get to here. I want everything to be accessible with just a couple steps. I also want to take use of these poles, but in a way that's useful, that will actually be hidden from the camera, because I'm tired of having to work magic every single live stream to hide that thing. You guys have no idea the amount of trouble I go through to set up these things. For me to get this shot, I can't have that thing in there. So then a lot of times I try to bring it in like this, but then I'm not really getting my monitors, I'm not getting the light. So a lot of times I'm trying to find a spot where I can, like, you know, get my gear and kind of get a little depth of field, but it's just not possible because this goddamn stripper pole is always in my view. So this is what we're gonna do. This area here, I built all this stuff out of scrap parts. This was obviously a friggin' dual monitor bracket, but this is a carport pole. So you can see the color difference here. This is the one that came from the factory, and this is for a carport. I've got more pieces. I'll show you what they look like here. And I need to cut it. So I got my blade. There you go. So this is for the carport. So one of those goes in there, and then another one goes out that way, and then it comes over the top. Or actually, I think this might be a top piece, like so. Kind of like a big tent, right? So I got my blade, and I've got my saw, my Sawzall. So for now, this has been kind of posted like this. So I've got this thing, which I made out of something else, and this was a door, and I cut it in half. So you can see there, I cut the door in half. This is a really thick, heavy door. And I put it on a keyboard stand. That's what this is, a keyboard stand. Way too much weight for a keyboard stand. But I have, tried to give it some structural integrity with using some other stuff. Like bringing this pole up through the ceiling here so that it can't move. It can't sway. But this is going to be now locked in over here. So I'm actually going to use this pole. I've got another one that's much longer out in the garage. Probably have like two of them actually. I'll probably put two of them together, and then this U-bolt that I used to attach this long, this is also carport. So what I used was a U-bolt with a C-clamp. Pretty easy, right? Just a small little pipe clamp. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this here, and I'm gonna stand up that pole alongside this one. So it'll be just as tall, and I will, tighten it back in so it'll bend around the pole, the smaller pole a little bit. And that'll keep it, I may have to put something in between them, but it'll be standing pretty much the same height as this one, and that'll give me somewhere to attach these two screens. So these two screens will be here, and I will hang the big monitor from this. So I'll just hang it here. The big ones will be here, and then my whatever you want to call that, my cart on wheels, my desk on wheels, will be here. So my visual will be like this, sitting facing this way, and that gives me a camera on this side facing this way, and that will also give me a camera over here facing this way. And then the way it'll work is this portion of the desk for this whole setup will actually start over here. And it will come across like this. And then the first bend where that white thing is sitting on will be somewhere in here. And then it'll curl over this way, which will be that. And I'm going to do something completely different with this. So that'll be interesting because I'd like to have this next to me. I don't want to have to stand up anymore. So I'm going to make it so that my mixer and my Rev 2 and my sledge are all in the same space, basically, as a 3-tiered system. So it'll come across there with the mixer, or the mixer may be here, who knows. But as you can see, it comes in, they're all symmetrical bends, except for this one, because it's not attached. So that will roughly come off here. This last piece will roughly come off here, and then the desk will sit like this, facing like this. So this is basically what we're talking about. And I just, like I said, got all this set up the way it is. So what'll happen is, the way I'm thinking about doing this means that I should have a significant amount of floor space in a couple places. I'll have some over here, which is behind this pole here, and I should have a bunch of space probably in this area, which is where I'm going to drag the drums over here, so that everything should basically be kind of in this shot, like so. Like if the pole's here and the camera's like this, then you'll see the side view of the Mpc station, and then the drums should be right next to it, so that I could essentially slide my chair, turn it, pivot my chair, and play the drums. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, so that I can make beats and do drums and affect the audio levels and the mixer, the EQing, the stream, everything, all from one little location just by turning. So with enough thought, it can be done. I don't know what happens with this yet in this scenario. That could end up over here, like I was saying, in this area, up against this wall, in the corner. I love having the wife's artwork up here, but she says that she wants me to make this just a music space. So I'm going to try to do. I can't imagine not having something of hers up, but we'll see. I have to get outside to get some work done, though. I got another tree that I still have to take care of. So I'm going to go out, get the yard ripped up, and I'm going to come back in. I may come back in with day 1, part 2, and start pulling wires. And if I can get all these undone today, get them disconnected from the system, and get everything unplugged from the mixer, I might be able to start dragging stuff over today and start plugging stuff back in. Oh, I see some stuff here. Hold on a second. Let's see what's up. Hey. Oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Lisa? What's going on? What's going on, guys? All right, cool. So that's about it. The Force, I just got this all set up yesterday. where now we're getting a feed from the mixer all the way back here. This is going to be my little, you know, loop center for doing some work with the drums and the fours. But I think over here will be a much better use of all this stuff. So let me go ahead and see if I can't do like a small diagram or something real quick so that I don't lose this idea while I'm outside. Just gotta grab something. See, this chair is meant for this station. This chair doesn't work for anything else because it's too tall. So let's see if I can just do this. I'm gonna try to just connect this. This is a, what is it called? An impact. This is a pivot arm. There you go. There's all kinds. There's like a magic arm and all that. And let me tell you, they do matter. Like, quality does matter when it comes to camera equipment. And that's another thing we're going to talk about too, is all this live streaming equipment all has to get broken down. The cables are all going to get managed. Like, I'm actually going to build or cut a piece of white material. It's like a square PVC pipe almost. And hopefully I have enough of it where I can run cabling through this. I have an idea to get the cables off the floor, but to still hide them. So we'll see if that works out. But yep, it's definitely gonna be a process, and I'm excited to do it. But I do have to take care of a couple things first. So let me see if I can just do a little bit of a sketch. I'm no artist like that. I just need to get the basic gist down. I've already made my measurements, so I already know it'll fit. You know, I never did this because what I didn't want was to be facing a wall while I was making music. So I could never figure out how to turn my studio in a way that would keep me from being up against a wall. It really makes a difference for me mentally. And even more so, I think that the fact that right now, what I'm looking at when I'm making music is this kind of corner. For me, if I'm over here, this is exactly where I'll be positioned. I'm actually looking at light, like I'm looking at the outside. And that's gonna make a difference. It is. It's gonna make a difference for me. All right, let me try. I hope this doesn't flip upside down. Shit, is that flipping upside down? I have no idea. Well, what's up to everybody? Also, I'm trying this. I've never done this before. I've never streamed like this from my phone because I don't have enough subscribers. So to be able to do this mobily is kind of cool, you know? Just a workaround I figured out. But it's also in 1080p, 60 frames per second, which I haven't done before. All right, so let me just map this out real quick with where I'm at now. So right now, you may hear some stuff in the background. Don't bother worrying about that. It's the wife on her calls. All right, so we got that. And we got that. This is just gonna be a rough sketch of what we have now, so that I can pivot it in a way that makes sense. I know this is not really the proper use of anything here, but that's how I work. I just take what I got and I go. All right, so right now, I'll go with this. That's about right. So we've got a station right now with speakers on it. It's about what we've got. Speakers, hold on one second here. Just move this. All right, sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure my door was closed. Okay, so that's, right now, that's where the windows are right here. Whoops. Windows are. And then the first desk is somewhere like this. It's the same width. I've measured out, when I built this, you know, I wanted everything to be kind of the same, uniform, you know, just so I could keep the dimensions right. And then it comes over like this. Okay, and then this one. All right, and we don't have anything over here because instead of it doing this over here, I don't have a wooden section here because I moved it to where this is. So now the Mpc and everything is kind of like this. And then the big monitors here, and the small ones are like this. And I even made like small connector pieces, like little triangles. I don't know what you call them, a wedge. So those are all wedges. So I don't really need to keep on going with this. You can kind of see the mixer is here. And then my Prophet is in the drawer. My Prophet Rev 2 is in the drawer. My sledge sitting here. And oh, the big Volca station is like this. Cool. All right, this is just to get some perspective on where we're at. I've got all my camera stuff there in this drawer. So what we're gonna do, let's take a look at this so I can show you. So if you look at that, and I guess I didn't give you the best look of it, did I? So if you look at that, you can see where the Prophet, where the Rev 2 is, and where the big monitor is, and that's this area right here. And I already drew all this stuff when I built it, and I'll gather that stuff up for the next one so you can see. I measured everything and actually made sure that everything was going to fit to scale. So what we have at the end of this little section right here is it actually comes inward. So then we got this space here now too. See, right here. So we're gonna pivot this thing just like this, boom. And the pole, show you where the pole is. I'm probably over explaining this, but if somebody comes along sometime, whoops, and has never done stuff like this, hey, this could be useful, I guess. So right now the pole is roughly about, it's about like, yeah, it's about right here. And then the other one is somewhere over here. What we're gonna do is swing this so that this is here. This part is like this. I'll back it off. I'm probably off on the exact, but it's just to kind of give you an idea. So this would pretty much be whatever you call this, parallel, or yeah. So this would be this. Well, I'll just go ahead and measure it like I did before. So it's about, yeah, about like that. So it comes like that, and then There's the other pole. So we're trying to get the back. We're trying to get this. We want the pole, this pole, to be right on this corner. That's what we're looking for. So then we want to come back in. And then it will be right about somewhere on that corner. You know, when I adjust this, because you remember this area here has to be big enough for this part to fit back there. So this actually has to be moved this way anyway. So when we move this way, it's going to bring this closer to the pole. And it should be about right, because we've got about this much space here, and we need about that much more here to fit this. I know it's not to scale or anything, but this is just my eyeballs, and because I've done this a lot, and actually everything I've ever done, like when I moved in the past and I had rooms to reorganize, I always did it like this. I always draw out what I want to do. So this is the hope. And then the drum set, that's going to be the next thing, because now I'll have all this space here, you know, and I'll have some space here, although my recliner and furniture is going to be over this way. Who knows? Maybe I'll even relocate all that, but that's what we're doing. So, oh, I see you. Let me see. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's nothing, you know, for me, there's nothing better than creating something. And creating something just means making something that doesn't currently exist. So this right now is my focus. This is what I'm creating. I'm going to create a better workflow that does not exist. Instead of having that mixer back here, really what I'm hoping for is that it goes here. This is what I was, you know, mentioning before. Actually, in this scenario, it's not here. It's actually on the third bend. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So in this scenario, it's actually here. And I thought about that because if you have the legs of the bottom legs of the stand, you'll understand in just 1 second. The way to save space is to use portions of your room that can't be used in any other way. So like the area behind a door, when you go into a room, everybody wastes the area behind of a door. But there's a lot of uses for an area behind a door. So you just have to think about that type of stuff. Now right here, I've got this here, but it won't be there. If we look at this, these legs are going underneath the dark chip. So they're actually, it was built in a way for this to be able to sit within it, because if it was, if those legs were back here, I wouldn't be able to do it like this because my studio would have to be further ahead and it wouldn't work. So if those legs go here, like this, the back of the legs are in here, it's using a piece of the room that we wouldn't be able to use for anything else in that configuration. But my thought is actually, instead of doing it here, is to have it here. So having that here means that there'll be, you know, there'll be a 3-tiered keyboard stand just behind that desk. So that's what I'm looking for. And the monitors won't be there. The monitors are going to get set up so that they're on opposite sides of me rather than having both of them on the right side of my face. I want to have one on the left side and one on the right side. So I'll probably either build a little stand that they'll sit on either side, or I'll come up with something that I already have. You know, I already have another one of these, and that's about the perfect height. So there's always that as a temporary solution. Yeah, well, I got to get outside and finish up some other more pressing issues. And then I'm going to come back in. I may do, you know, part 2, day 1, and get some of this stuff taken care of. I'm inspired. It's not that big of a project if you break it down into smaller pieces. Unplugging everything can be scary, but there's ways around that. You can tag things, label things. I'm pretty sure though, if you have this many things to unplug, that you probably know what you're doing. So, but in a smaller situation, it's still good if you label things. This is exactly what I'm talking about, and I need to relabel because I don't have my labels correct anymore. But these are all my labels, you know, and I just cut pieces of paper and put clear tape so that I could use erasable markers to write on it. But yeah, those inputs and outputs have changed a lot over the last year or two. So I have to go over it again anyway. But yeah, when we get this done, it's going to be great because it's going to be a bit more all in kind of one area. I like the way it is right now. It's not a problem. I could keep it like this indefinitely. But I'm kind of getting a little tired of the wood. So I don't know what to do about that. If I unplug everything and move everything and I have to disconnect everything, I may take that chance to paint. I don't really want to. That's really not where I want to go with this move. I don't really want to have to sand and paint, but if I do it, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to get fiberglass, and I'm going to get body filler, and I'm going to fiberglass this whole setup so it's like a real fucking spaceship. And that way it can be painted over and over again easily. Build some better finishing touches to it, you know. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I really don't want to go that route, so I probably won't. But the one last thing I want to say is this station right here, which will be over here, will be now mobile, because I'm going to take all the cabling, which is insane. And I'm gonna try to kind of braid it, not like full braid, but I'm just gonna try to kind of collect everything into like one giant cable, so that I can probably what I'll do after I get off this stream is I'll probably order a bunch of Velcro straps so that I can easily unstrap a cable if I need to move it, because I want to be able to drag that station around. If I want to go to a synth over here, I want to just be able to drag it over. And the other thing is, the whole reason why I wanted to do this started because I want to bring my studio, my desk up. You see how we've got adjustment here? So this goes up a lot. Let me show you how much. If you look at the holes. I can't tell if you can see them or not because I can't see my phone, but there's a lot of holes, and this thing can go way up in the air. So I'd like to have it to where it's probably another foot higher. And I was looking at my monitor, and I'm like, yeah, if I go up anymore, I'm gonna lose visual of my monitor. See, right now, I can just see the bottom of it. But if this goes up higher, then I'm gonna lose visual of it. So then I need to bring up the monitor too. And then I can't bring up the monitor because I got these things. So I have to bring those up. So that's was making me think a little bit. And don't get me thinking about some big plan, because I will just keep going until it's finished. That's how it works in my world. So I don't quit, I don't stop. I don't let anything hold me back. If you're not with me, that's cool. Keep it moving. I'll do my shit, you do yours. But I don't create hate. I'm inclusive. I will never tell somebody they're not welcome. I will never put anyone down. I will not make anyone feel like they do not belong here. If you're here, you belong. God brought you here. So we are all here for a reason. We all have a purpose. Is mine to be the friggin' studio guru? I don't know. But I'm not going to bring other people down in the process of figuring out what I'm doing. So be good to people, be kind to people, and I'll be back next time. And I'll say peace to everybody. Oh, okay, hold on. I'll just say, what up, Phil? Let's see, unplugging and plugging. I hate it. It has to be done. Yeah, man, it does. It has to be done. Don't quit. That's right. That's right. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And, you're right. I'm speaking to your right. Thank you for being here. I've seen you on the channel from time to time. Phil, thank you for being here. You've always been supportive. Lisa, you're one of my best bros, even though you're not a bro. So I appreciate you guys. And anybody else that's here, make yourself known so I can say what's up. If not, you're just a lurker. All right. Join the club. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you guys later. I just got to get outside and finish up some of this yard stuff, but go ahead and play it on back. Please give me a like, give me a sub, thumb it or share it or do something just to help me out, because my channel is growing so damn slow, but I do a lot of useful shit and I help a lot of people. So please just give me a hand. All right, peace.